What is up, ladies and gentlemen, Manny here, welcome back to the channel. Today we're gonna do a video which is highly requested actually, and that is Stefano Ghisolfi. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong. I'm sure someone in the comments down there can tell me how I pronounce it correctly. But anyway, what a guy, the absolute endurance monster amongst the elites, right? That's how we all kind of remember him, have in our minds. I want to talk about him in the context of one route in particular which he sent, and that is Excalibur. Why Excalibur? Well, simply because it's another one of these routes which kind of, for me personally, ticks the blueprint very well, apart from a little thing which I don't like so much about it. But it ticks the blueprint very well for the absolutely futuristic, absolute like elite monster, 40 degrees overhanging, super small holds, not a lot of rests, obviously no knee bars, no hand rests, nothing that really breaks flow, nothing that really resets difficulty, which then again makes it harder to compare with other stuff, makes it harder to grade hard, as we talked about it in the last video. You know what? Let's jump right into it. Actually, there is a German article of Excalibur, the route, actually on Wikipedia. Can you believe it? And in the beginning of 2023, it is Stefano Ghisolfi who did the first ascent, and there is no repetition so far. And that's quite important, because it would be okay if there's no repetition so far and the route is somewhere, in the mountains of the Himalayas and nobody ever gets there and stuff like that. But there have been actually pros attempting that stuff. In particular, Adam Onra, I think, spent a couple of time with this route, but never could send it. Again, kind of demonstrating, kind of underlining that Adam Onra in the future is gonna have difficulty, as I've said many times, with the super hard stuff, and that's just simply because of finger strength divided by body weight. Okay, finger strength divided by body weight, as we always say, that's gonna be the number one, bar it's gonna take to break into the very elite stuff in the future. The beginning is 8B plus boulder problem. Okay, so that's quite a thing to overcome. They're right on the first couple of draws. We're gonna see it. And then we got very small holds, consistently 40 degrees overhanging a route. It's a limestone actually, 12 meters long. So who would have thought that? When we think about all these classic hard routes in Spain, 30, 40 meters long, like Estado Critico and all that kind of stuff. Here we got condensed difficulty, man. Condensed difficulty. No, jug shaking for 10 meters and then another crux or stuff like that. Nothing like that. And I really like that kind of style. I can't say it often enough. It's just such an honest way of climbing hard, For example, Envix in the Antarctis, it's an 8B plus on the world famous Taligrad to the south of Vienna, right? This is a route which is very comparable in terms of style, not in terms of difficulty, but in terms of style with routes like these. It's also only 10 meters or something, but it's just super hard boulder moves without any rests. And then there is obviously Mode Selector, which is one of my 8C pluses, which is in the Grazer Bergland. It's also very much that kind of style. You got some super hard boulder problem to the start, then just some super hard moves through a roof, and finishing off with still a very hard boulder problem, about 7C or something, I would say, to the top, right? So we get this 8A boulder problem at the start, hard moves where you can't really rest, just give your arms a couple shakes, and then you gotta power through this 7C boulder problem to the top. What can I do, man? I just like these honest, brutal routes, really. It's just amazing. Also to see elites actually fight through that stuff without knee pads and all that kind of stuff, right? There is an alternative start, actually, which starts with a dyno, Adam Onra apparently figured that one out, but it's still 9B with this kind of workaround, the first crux, right? Then it's a bit of history. February 2020, it was bolted by Christian Dorigatti and Maurice Fontanari, and Ghisolfi tried it for the first time in 2021. It took him 2 years roughly to get it done, right? So quite a tough thing. It was a tough process. It was extremely difficult from the first try, where I still had to, get some beta, and I thought it was completely impossible for me until the first ascent, but at which I felt quite solid, surprisingly solid and secure. And what I have personally also found interesting, another guy who also tried the route is Will Bosey, the guy we reviewed recently as well, super strong boulderer from the Brits. I told you, if this guy ever was to, test his strength also on outdoor lead, he would shine a lot. But you know what? Enough boring theory. Let's jump into the practice. Let's watch Stefano climb this beast. And I want to also give kudos. I don't know who filmed this ascent, but I always want to give kudos to cameramen who actually get up on the route and film from above, because these are always the best shots. It's better than any drone shots from behind or stuff like that. It's also the most effort to do that, to actually send someone up there, but you can really see how small these holes really are and how much finger you actually can see. So I really just love that. Also notice how much time he takes here just to sort in the first two moves which he can actually grab from the ground. These first two moves here with the right hand just look super hard already. And bang, there we go. 8B plus boulder problem or something like that, yeah? Bang. Grabbing further left. Matching with right hand. Beautiful cross step there. Beautiful cross step and boom. This is definitely a move which just looks super hard, yeah? This kind of crossover, kind of snappy thing there. We also have to take into account that, I mean, this is, we got a short climber going here with 170 centimeters. We're gonna take a look at his stats after this ascent as well. But apparently he has a plus ape index, and here he's chilling on something that looks like a, I don't know, 20 centimeter edge, maybe 25 centimeter edge or something. Arguably for him quite a good hold, but probably most of us normies, we wouldn't even be able to take this hold in a problem in a crux, right? So take a look at his resting technique here. Beautiful flag there with the left foot to make this hold as good as possible with the right hand. What I'm wondering personally here is, like, how can he really rest there if he doesn't look down on his resting hand, man? I always consider it a bit of a mistake if you don't look down on your resting hand and, you know, opposed to that you look up on what's coming at you. But on a route which is this intense, where you really have to do everything right and 100% right, I can understand that he looks up and kind of goes through the moves one more time. But yeah, normally I always advise to people look down, because it enables more blood flow to the resting hand and stuff like that. But anyway, this rest here is the only reason why I would say, wow, this route, it could be so good, it could be so hard, but this rest kind of breaks the flow a little bit and makes it a little bit more chunky. You know, it's not just such a continuous thing like we've seen with Alex Megos with the last video that we reviewed with Project Red. This is a bit interrupting. At least it's not a no hand rest or something like that, not a knee bar or anything like that, but it's a bit interrupting. Now, super tiny Gaston there with the left hand. Boom. This looks also like a very hard move and a super bad hole with the right hand. Damn, look at how small these holes are. So much finger you can see there. And every single clip has to be made. You can't skip any clips there. You're so close to the ground. So this is honest climbing there. A super micro crimp there with left. And having to lock this right hole. How many heel hooks there are? Yeah. He's got to be quite good at heel hooking as well to be able to heel hook on all these tiny features, man. Super hard move there with left. Super hard final move. I bet he came off there a couple times on this last move, man. The last move after such a sequence, brutal. Huge kudos, man, to this ascent. I love the honesty of this route. Like, it's so directly hard. 10, 12 meters, compressed difficulty, you know. There is no, like, tiny little girly tricks around things, you know. Beautiful. I love it. I also would love to see how Alex Megos would do on a route like this. Yeah, I bet he would shine very hard, probably. But the rest, you know, makes things a little bit more difficult for him. The rest suits Stefano a little bit more, because as we know, he's an endurance monster. And now basically he just gotta bring this thing home. Just be careful that it doesn't slip anywhere and stuff. Kudos to the camera, man. Yeah, kudos, man. Kudos, man. Let's have a look at this first boulder problem one more time. Really shallow left heel hook. I mean, look at that heel. Albeit there's not too much weight on it. It's just for a right hand to grab further, right? Bang, there we go. Now he's kind of shaking right hand one time, like getting a little bit of chalk maybe from his trousers. It's always the thing with these super honest, tough routes, like where do you chalk up, right? When do you clip the quick draws? You have to clip them because you can't make a grounder. It's so compressed. This this cross step here is just beautiful. It's another one of these details which sometimes go unnoticed, right? But this requires actually dexterity. Look at that. Sorting those fingers in properly. Beautiful. Oh, stepping on nothing with the right foot there. Bang! And what a move. It looks so unspectacular from this perspective, but I bet this is a brutally hard move. And then we get this rest and rest and rest and rest, right? Like, which probably kills your fingers more than it actually gives you any energy back, but you need to do it because you can't just... If this route didn't have this rest, it would be an easy 9C, right? It would be just a beautiful 9C, a beautifully futuristic 9C. Only the super tough guys could ever climb it. The finger strength divided by body weight monsters would be able to climb it. And that's exactly what I mean, yeah? And we also, people always say, yeah, but why does it have to be this way? It also could have been rest and stuff like that. Yeah, but then their routes are not as easily comparable, anymore. And then there's always going to come somebody, some resting endurance monster who downgrades it or stuff like that. With routes like these, with honest difficulty, it's just very nicely comparable. The only problem really with this super hard future route blueprint that I'm always mentioning is it's gonna be super hard to find. Because imagine these like blank walls, 40 degrees overhanging with just a couple of structures on it. Like, if one structure is missing, it's already impossible. If one structure is a little bit bigger, it's already a rest. As we see it here in Excalibur's example, here with Stefano Ghisolfi. There is some two edges who are maybe 20 centimeters and it's already a pretty good rest for Stefano, yeah? So it's very, very rare out there, and especially when we're talking about natural rock, no sika, no chipping and stuff like that, where you have a continuous difficulty of 10 and we're gonna need 20 meters if we want to take it to something like 10A or 10A plus or something like that, yeah? Which I'm sure somewhere out there is existing. But it's hard to find these lines who are just having enough features so that they are possible and that they are 10A, but not big enough so that there are rests, which actually then kind of separate difficulty again and make it easier that way. Yeah. So this is the thing. Will we be able to find a route like that in the future in nature without, gluing something on so that it becomes possible? That's going to be the challenge of the future, guys, I think, but that's going to be how these super hard routes look like, because people ask me all the time, man, do you think there's going to be a 10A at some point? I'm pretty sure there's going to be people who are actually strong enough to send such a thing. Maybe it's going to be Toby Roberts, who knows? But the challenge is going to be finding such a line. Again, one thing is missing, it's impossible. One thing is a bit bigger, it's already a rest. It could also be that you've got just simply 3 8C plus boulders back to back and they are separated by good rests or something like that, yeah? But then again, is that really, 10A or something? It's hard, man. It's hard to grade these things when they are separated by rests. And now let's go for the crux of Excalibur one more time. I love this hold with the right hand that he's taking right now. Left hand, okay, there's the Gaston, and now comes this just super tiny edge. Wow, he almost missed it. Did you see that? He almost overgrabbed it. Did you see his fingers sliding on the wall there? Like, this is just also a tiny little detail. Bang, he almost missed it, man. That was a really close shot there. And how he has to sort his fingers in. Like, Stefano in general, he's a guy, because of his endurance, I think, he likes re-gripping a lot, yeah? And normally, he also has the time to do it. And he's super bad intermediate. I mean, look at how he would get quite a sailboat also going on this move. Like, look at that brachioradialis right there, looking beautiful. But here we already can see, in terms of a body type, this is something completely different than we see on Toby Roberts. Yeah? Toby Roberts, he would look long here on this move, man. Long here in the legs, everywhere. With Stefano, we got a different blueprint. We've got this more Japanese kind of thing going on there, where we get the short guys who are just having crazy finger strength divided by body weight, but they often have trouble actually bringing it to the wall if the distances between holds become bigger. And that's why I need a good mixture of both, and that's why I always say the ideal height, probably somewhere around 175, 176 centimeters, a bit of a positive ape index on top of that, and you're good to go. Yeah? Okay, so let's keep looking here. Love how he rocks the female version of the solutions there. Super shallow heel hook. I mean, did you see that? Just super shallow heel hook there. I mean, look at this. We can't see the structure, unfortunately, that he uses here because his hand is in the way. But this is a small ass heel hook, man. Oh, I love how the fingers are separated there. Like, do you know how hard it is? And he didn't regrip here. How hard it is to hit a hold properly like that on the first try when you have to separate fingers. I've had routes like these in the past, man, where you had to go dynamically and you only had one shot, because if one finger was wrong, you would basically slip off it. Yeah, I want to notice this one more time here, how he hits this hold. Bang, no regripping, okay? This index finger is completely separated from the rest of the hand. He had to practice this move a couple of times, man, until he was able to actually hit it. And look at the left hand as well, man. There's not even space enough for his left index finger there. It's only middle, ring, and pinky probably, or if it's only, maybe it's only middle and ring. It's tiny little details, man. This is important to notice this kind of stuff, okay? And this is also why Adam Onra, that's what I'm believing at least, why Adam Onra had to let go of this route, man, because it's just so small holded. Adam Onra with his big hands and also higher, body weight, finger strength divided by body weight wise, it's just not the right route for him. And that's why I say he's gonna be, with time, having trouble on these new school finger strength divided by body weight monster routes. Yeah? He needs technique, he needs workarounds, he needs like tricky solutions and stuff like that, where he has to cramp a knee pad in and get a knee bar or something. Yeah, that's his kind of style. That's why he's so good at on-sighting, and because he's so tall, he has a lot of options. That's making him very good at on-sighting as well. But when it comes to the really, really high-end game stuff like this, that's where he struggles. Like, look at how much power on that heel hook is. All of that time, yeah, bang, here we got this beautiful move again. How much finger do you see there on this left hand, man? This is a small ass hold. And there was a lot of weight here on this heel hook until he was able to fiddle his left leg around the rope, yeah? Did you see that? Beautifully matching here, stepping and bang. Oh, that one was also close. His right hand was already moving, it was already opening up, his right arm there. Oh, and it only makes sense because it did two very similar moves back to back here. Huh? Here he can at least wait until he can clip the draw from a good hold there, because he's already so high up. Yeah, beautiful. What a route! Like, and again, there's so many details which usually go unnoticed. This is almost the biggest reason why I'm happy that I've climbed my hard routes that I did, because I'm able to actually appreciate what I'm seeing here. Yeah? Most people just say, yeah, okay, it's just a super hard route, it looks hard, it's super small holds. But having had at least some of an idea, how this kind of stuff can feel. I mean, obviously, still difficulty-wise, I'm way, way, way far away from what this is, from what he's doing here. But I'm able to appreciate the difficulty when I see it, yeah, and also in the tiny little details. So kudos to Stefano, man. So let's move back to theory here a little bit. We've brought up two different Wikipedia pages from Stefano Ghisolfi. Actually, funnily enough, the German Wikipedia page looks quite a lot different from the English one, so I pulled up both. The problem with the German one is that we miss a lot of stats here in the right column. Yeah, and that's why I also pulled up the English one, which is giving us a lot more info. So we got someone who is 31 years old. He was born in February 1993. 1 meter and 70 centimeters tall. So that's quite, for me, I would say, as I am 173 on good days, is relatively short. Yeah? It's definitely on the shorter side of what I would deem to be ideal. The thing that's helping him, which I didn't know, is +4 centimeter ape index, okay? Where I have 0 centimeters ape index, he has +4. So apparently, despite our little height difference, he should have actually a little bit more reach than I have, yeah? So that goes to show how much ape index actually can help you if you're a shorter guy, and you can still be able to rock a crazy low weight if you're that short. 58 kilograms, crazy low weight, yeah? Could be even lower, arguably, with a height like this, but we not want to get crazy. Again, I've had people like commenting in my videos like, man, you should stop talk about all this body type, genetics kind of stuff. It's only gonna lead to eating disorders and stuff like that. Yes, I know. That's why I always mention this is not not talking about health here. Okay, health is a completely different ball game. If you want to know about health, then head over to my Patreon where I talk about health as well. There's a reason why I'm not on a vegan diet anymore and stuff like that. Yeah, in case you missed that, there was a big video in the past. I don't think it's healthy. However, in terms of performance, sports performance, we're talking pure performance here. And that's also why I'm so eager on this whole body type kind of thing with the centimeters and stuff like that. Because there is actually a very narrow ideal out there. The thing is, it's very important to know this for talent scouts out there, because then they can judge whether someone has potential or has less potential by just, measuring them out, looking them out, and potentially can save people a lot of time, man. Because if you got someone who wants to be the number one, the world best climber out there, but he's only 165, yeah, he's probably gonna have a very tough time on a lot of routes out there. It's the cold hard truth, in my opinion. This guy should probably become a I don't know, military jet flyer or something like that. Yeah, because there you have to be small, you have to be super lightweight, and this guy fits perfectly into the cockpit. And so there is different talents for everything. And when we know what kind of body types and what kind of genetics fit perfectly into each and every category, we can save people a lot of time by accidentally falling into the wrong thing. Yeah. So that's my personal opinion, but whatever, take it or leave it. So there we have the body type. A bit too short in my opinion, although the +4 centimeters obviously help him. Yeah, that's great. It just goes to show that these guys at the very elite level, finger strength divided by body weight wise, they check into roughly the same box all the time. They're somewhere around 60 kilos or even below, and they're somewhere on 175, 174 centimeters or something like that. In this case, we got someone who's quite a bit shorter with 170. But it's just a very narrow ideal out there, and we need to develop a feel for that. One more thing that I'm gonna let you go. There is actually this shot of him uncut where he sends Perfecto Mundo 9B Plus in Spain, and he actually does a little bit of commentary to it, which is amazing. But why I wanted to show you this shot is just here you can really appreciate the steepness of this monster. Yeah, we were talking about it, man. It's steep, small holds. Finger strength divided by body weight, man. That's gonna be where the future is really lying with all these 9C, 9C plus, 10A potentially difficulties or something, yeah? Perfecto Mundo, another example for that. The problem with Perfecto Mundo is that it's separated, it's a bit choppy, with all these rests, and it's got a lot of easier sections. You have to climb an easier section to actually get to the crux, and then you got another section, endurance to the top and stuff. All amazing. I would rather have it more compressed without the rests. Yeah, that would be awesome. But anyway, this is still awesome. Let's hear what he has to say here about Perfecto Mundo.
So now I'm taking advantage of this rest, and it was time to go. This next section is about 10 moves intense without the possibility of taking any choke. And then there is the crux move from the mono to the pinch. So the problem here was to arrive really fresh at the crux move, because I could do the crux move from the first day as a single move, but even starting from 1 or 2 holes below, it was super hard and I couldn't do it in weeks.
Here's one thing that I've noticed personally. If you struggle with open things like monos and stuff like that, like pockets, yeah, and they are cruxes, they're usually, unless you're living in the Frankenjura, yeah, but usually monos and pockets and stuff like that, they are relatively rare in general out there in the world. They are relatively common in Margalef or in the Frankenjura, but anywhere else they are kind of rare. So we are usually not very adapted to it as climbers. Yeah? But what that means also is that if you ever encounter one, you can expect a very, very strong adaptive response towards actually training that move where the severed pocket or mono is contained. So that's what I noticed always. When I entered a pockety area or something, I was really bad at the beginning. But I got super good very fast, because there is a lot of potential actually for open holds like monos and stuff like that, which we never use because we never train it because it's very rare outside. Yeah? And I think it could be that Stefano capitalized on this as well. He never uses monos, or relatively rarely probably. He still has a lot of finger strength divided by body weight, so why would he not very much adapt to a mono like that? Yeah? And obviously he did, because as he said, he was able to do the move on the first day, but even 2 moves before that he wasn't able to do it. But then he was able to climb all these meters. Like, look at how much climbing he did up until that point and was able to do the move. Yeah. So that's how much easier the move in of itself must have felt for him.
So coming from the ground was super hard. Now I have the one finger pocket with the right hand and the jump.
Bang.
This was the very first time I could hold the pinch from the ground, so it felt unreal. And then the next move...
That's also good to know. I guess we know Toby Roberts actually held this pinch like I think 2 times already, but still fell. And one time he fell because the rest was wet, and I think one time he fell on the very last lip where apparently there's another hard boulder to the top out. Anyway, we're gonna see him send it very soon.
Quite hard actually. Alex fell a few times holding the pinch and even going to the next one. I think it happened the same thing to Jakob a bit later, few years later after this day when I sent the route. And same thing happened to Adam when I tried Perfecto Mundo. I think he held the pinch a couple of times and couldn't move, or just did one more move that was quite hard.
I find it quite cool how he compares himself with the other climbers.
A lot of time. I don't know how many times I fell going to the pinch, but I for sure in this position I didn't want to fail because it was the first time and I didn't want to climb again the whole route.
Yeah, I can totally imagine, man.
I was a bit nervous, but I was focused. There was still this section that was quite scary.
Look at all the re-gripping that he can do here. Because apparently the holds are better,
the cracks for me, I had to be really fresh, so I wasn't that tired. And yeah, I remember there was still a small rest before the final cracks. That is on the lip of the crag.
Obviously, his crazy endurance is helping him a lot here. Yeah? I don't think that Toby shook that much here on this last few moves, or Alex or Jakob Schubert. Probably they had to power through it until the end, without having that much resting opportunity. But apparently for Stefano, this is resting terrain. Yeah.
In the last days before descent, I remember I was able to do the route from the rest, where Gancho Perfecto and Perfecto Mundo divide, to the top. I did a few times from there the route, and when I did from there a couple of times, I knew I was ready to try it from the ground. And from the ground, or even from few holes below the rest, it totally changed the route because it is super hard. Chris Sharma, who bolted the route, told me he did the route starting few holes from the ground, skipping just the very big jugs at the beginning, and this could seem that it doesn't change anything, but it changed a lot.
Even if
you add a few moves on jugs, it changes a lot because you feel every single hole, even if it's a jug, when you are at the cracks.
The thing with jugs also is that they accustom your fingers towards a bigger hold type, And once the tough stuff really starts, and this is also why I'm not a big fan of resting in general on big jugs, yeah, but sometimes you have to, you can't really, das Leben ist kein Wunschkonzert, we say in German, right? So they kind of get accustomed to big jugs like that, and once you actually have to take the crimp then, or the mono, you're super weak on the crimp because of the jug. The jug did accustom you to a bigger hold type, so the jug muscles, they are warmed up, but the small crimp muscles, they're kind of cooled down. That's again why I'm a big fan of what is called active potentiation or something like that. the crimping, even though you're still in the jug, you crimp a couple holes so that you prepare your fingertips, and only then you're starting into the crux, which contains the crimps, right? So that's the potentiation effect, which is something that is very useful on your routes like this. But yeah, okay, apparently he climbs to the top right now. I'm not gonna make this video endlessly long now. I want to say huge kudos to Stefano for being such a cool guy. He also seems to just be a really laid-back guy and a cool guy to be around. Judging from his voice, judging from the way he talks and stuff. I've never met him. I never met him out there in the wild. Would be cool to sometimes at some point meet him. But yeah, seems to be a really cool dude and has some freakish power. Yeah, amazing endurance skills, just amazing. In terms of an ideal body type, I would say he's a little bit on the shorter side, although his ape index helps him quite a lot there. And he's just not, I don't get this long feeling when I look at him climbing. Yeah? And I know that this long feeling is amazing. It's just so useful on so many routes out there where you have big moves. Yeah? We will see, man. Will Stefano check in at the 9C grade? That would be amazing for him. I mean, he repeated this Alex Megos thing, the Rasta vibrations, or what it's called, in Seus, and Megos said it was 9C, but he downgraded it to 9B+, which also speaks for me that he's a super honest guy. And if it's just for him, not 9C, then he's not gonna name it 9C just because some other guy did so, and it's actually quite easier for him, right? And then he wouldn't be honest with himself, and I really appreciate that kind of mindset about the elites, yeah? Because I mean, how much prestige would it have given him to just say, okay, it is 9C, I take 9C. Instead, he says it's 9B+, and so Alex Megos obviously also has to still fight a little bit for his first confirmed 9C, right? So he's putting a high bar up there to his fellow companions there, yeah? Up in the elites, and I really appreciate that because it takes a lot of honesty actually to pull this through. So yeah, kudos to Stefano, amazing guy. My friends, let me know down below what you think. I hope you're strong and healthy somewhere out there. I'll see and hear you quite soon. Bye.